Mrs. Flowers?
Here.
Mrs. Green?
Here.
Mrs. Jones?
Here.
Mr. Thompson's absent. Mr. Harris?
Here. I'm going to stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, who did we have leading us this? Can you tell us your names? And who's this one? Willow. Willow. Are you in kindergarten? How'd I know that? All right. I want to welcome the public to our November regular board meeting. Are there any changes to the agenda?
I don't, but did somebody want to call?
Yeah, I do think that we want to request an executive session at the end with no actions to be taken. Is that okay with the rest of the board for employment purposes? Okay.
Okay, so executive will be 8, and then 9 is adjourned. Comments from the public?
Want to go first?
I think they were just
They were just here for the pledge, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Melanie Clark. I have 2 children going here, Luke and Joey. Luke is graduating this year, which brought me to the reason why I'm here tonight. I can tell you that I have never been so upset, disappointed, and frustrated with the way I have been treated, with the way my concerns have been addressed with my particular issue. I want to state my story to the board because I don't know if the board members are all aware of what's been going on. You may have heard different bits and pieces, or you may know it all, you may not. But as I said, my son Luke is graduating. I had concerns about when commencement would be. So I wanted to address those concerns, and I wanted to reach out to Ms. Viscount. I knew I had to do that in early enough time before the school calendar came out, so that, before parents had already made plans. So last April I reached out and I called Mrs. Viscount, which to my understanding, she said if we had, because Luke come home and told me if we had any concerns to address them. And I called her, and this was before the calendar was presented to the public. And I stated my concerns. I addressed that I would prefer commencement to be on a Sunday, and if it was decided on a Friday, I stated why. And she said to me that she would look into it. Okay, that's fine. I hadn't heard anything in a month. No phone call, no text, no email. So at the academic awards banquet, I saw her and I approached her again. And I stated my concerns again about why I would like commencement on a Sunday instead of a Friday. And not only how I would like it, but from what I understand, a majority of the parents that I had talked to wanted it on a Sunday as well. She told me then that they would send out a survey. And a survey was sent out. I filled it out. However, I again received no phone call, no text, no email in regards to the outcome of the survey, if there was any decision made on commencement, or any of my concerns. So at that point, I totally felt ignored, disregarded, pushed aside, hoping probably that I would go away and forget about it. I did not. As you know, I came back last month and again addressed my concerns. I had heard nothing about results of a survey. Mr. Latham was here. He expressed his concerns that he would like to see the results of the survey. We had heard nothing at all. So after I was told then that since Ms. Viscount wasn't at the meeting, that they would talk to her and they would discuss it. Once again, I heard nothing. I was not contacted, I was not called. I again felt ignored, that my concerns weren't relevant. So then my two boys come home with another survey, which I don't know why, because we didn't hear the results of the first survey. So I didn't know what the point of was for that second survey. So at this point then I knew probably that commencement was not going to be changed, because at this point it was October, the calendar had come out, and I'm sure parents had already made plans. Mine, as you know from last meeting, were on hold because I said I didn't want to make them because I knew plans for the commencement were up in the air. So that was disregarded as well. And I have to say, I have been, and some of you know, very involved in the school and their activities. I've been in this district for 21 years, and I have never, ever, I have had concerns over those years with the school. I have never been addressed like I have today. I may not have gotten what I wanted, but I was treated with dignity and respect. I had the courtesy, they gave me the courtesy of addressing me personally, not being brushed aside, not being ignored. And I just feel that is so unprofessional, and that is not the way to treat parents of students. And from what I understand, the students wanted it on Sunday too, and they were disregarded. And we were not even given a legitimate reason for moving commencement in the first place. As I stated in the last meeting, commencement has always been on a Sunday. All of a sudden, it was moved to Friday. No reasons, at least that I know of, were given. It was just moved. And so I didn't understand it at that time, but I didn't really have any reason to come forward because I didn't have any students graduating. This time I do. And it was a big concern to me. And I feel bad for Luke, my son, and the senior class because they only have one high school graduation. And I feel that it is not going to be as good on a Friday as it could have been on a Sunday. And I feel they're being robbed for no apparent reason. And like I said, I am a teacher myself, and I know that if I would have treated parents of students that way in my district, I would have been reprimanded. There's no excuse for treating me this way. I asked for something very simple, and I was ignored. So I want to tell you now, since April wasn't soon enough to come forward, I have another son graduating next year. And unless I have a legitimate reason for commencement not being on a Sunday, if you can give me a reason, I could accept that. If you'd have stated to me in the first place, I could accept it. I was ignored. That's what I didn't like. That's how I felt cheated. Not only me, but my son as well, as the rest of the students, as you heard with Mr. Latham. So I am here now to tell you that I am requesting for commencement to be moved next year to a Sunday, unless there's a legitimate reason not to. Thank you.
Ms. Clark, I would tell you this, that graduation has not always been on Sunday. I've looked back through, and there's been Tuesday nights and Monday nights and things like that. But I understand that there was a pattern for years that it was on Sunday. But there was some nights when it was Monday nights back in the 30s and 40s and things like that. But and I don't think that you were ignored in that we didn't listen to you the last time because they did do another survey.
But I wasn't told. That's the thing.
No, and that's because we as a board have not met from the results of that survey. And so publicly, we can't do anything as a board, because I can't call a board member and say, well, how would you vote on this? Or how would you vote on that? Because that is illegal.
Okay, but then why was an all-call sent out that commencement was now going to be on a Friday?
The seniors didn't get a call? After we got these back, the last round, and I did individually call each person to see, what they thought about this, because we do, like you said, it's a little late, so there were families that did make plans.
Sure.
Because it is the Friday. I asked Mr. Crumpack to make an all-call because we can target a certain grade level, so if that didn't go out, I'll make sure it does. There should have been a call made to seniors a week ago.
I think there was. I believe
Okay.
there was, and
Okay.
that's what I was referring to.
Okay.
Because I think, because I addressed it. I came to you personally. I thought that at least professionally, you should have gotten back to me personally through some means of contact, whether it was phone, email, something saying, hey, whatever, this is the way it turned out, and we're sorry, it's on a Friday, but I got nothing, and that's how I felt ignored. It's just not professional. And as in regards to that, I came to you way ahead of time, hoping to resolve this before the calendar came out, because I knew once it did that there was no hope. So I thought it could be resolved before the calendar came out. I didn't think it would be put off or ignored to the point where now it was too late. Because there was a first survey that went out, and I know the results of that. You don't have to tell me, because I've talked to the majority of the parents. You heard Mr. Latham last month. And so not only was I ignored, but the majority of the parents and students were too. And I don't know, I don't understand why. Because even to this day, I don't have a reason as to why it couldn't have been on a Sunday. Why couldn't it just been switched? If that were the results of your survey, why couldn't it be switched? I don't understand that.
I don't have last year's.
See, and that's not acceptable to me, because I came to you with a concern, and you should have those results, and they should have been told to me, at least me.
And I agree with you there. The thing is, you also have to realize that the teachers get to vote on the calendar. And if they choose a calendar that says graduation's Friday, then that's what, that's one of the...
I agree too, but I think, your community is your taxpayers. And I would think that they would
Right.
hold more weight than the teachers would. And I've talked to a good portion of the teachers, and I know what their opinion was too. I didn't come into this blind. I've been here for 21 years. I know a lot of these people personally because I've been involved with them. And like I said, I have just never, ever, I have always respected the teachers, the board, the superintendent, and all their decisions, whether I agree with them or not. But this time, it was just uncalled for. I'm totally disappointed. Very disappointed. I would hope that my concerns are way greater next year, so at least my son next year can graduate on Sunday.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Number 4 then, motion to accept the minutes and the treasurer's financial reports.
I make a motion we accept the minutes from the October 16th meeting and the treasurer's financial reports.
A second.
Discussion? Call the roll?
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Flowers?
Yes.
Mrs. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
5, motion to approve the following there's a repayment of advances, federal grant allocations, establishment of 2 new funds, letter of engagement with the auditor of the state, our gifted policy and plan, and then 3 donations.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Call the roll?
Wait, I have a question.
Yep.
I just want to make sure. Tony, what you gave us about the gifted, that's from the state, is that correct? That's not, or was it adapted also for,
It's a little bit of both.
okay, that was my question.
Yeah.
Because the chart of approved assessments, I mean, there's several of those. So for those, it's the ones that we own, ones that are appropriate for our students. I talked to our psychologists because they administer exams, so that's where they came from. And then services are the services we provide. The state doesn't dictate what services you provide. But all the other language is theirs.
State contract.
Any other discussion? Call the roll?
Mrs. Green?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Flowers?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
6 is motion to non-renew the following supplementals at the close of their duties, and that would be our fall sports coaches.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
They're all non-certificated, correct?
Correct.
That's
If
why
they're
they're
certificated, they don't have to be non-renewed.
Right. Any other discussion? Call the roll?
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Flowers?
Yes.
Mrs. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
7 is motion to grant 1-year limited contracts for 4 substitute positions, and then B, supplemental contracts for basketball.
Motion.
So we have to put them all together like that?
Nope, if you want
No,
to
we can
separate,
separate
you
them.
can separate.
Can we do that?
Yep.
Okay? Do you want all of them separate, or?
Can we table this?
Yep.
Okay.
So then there will be action after the,
Second that motion.
yeah, there needs to be a second.
I'll second that motion.
Now the discussion. And you want to table it until after the executive?
Session, yeah.
So then there will be action after, okay.
Can I ask a question about that too? Is that Joe Davis? I mean, is that correct? I
Yeah.
just didn't know. So he's third assistant for, is that high school?
Yeah, it's like the
Is that high
7th
school?
grade.
That would be high
7th
school.
Oh, junior, okay, so junior high?
grade. Yeah, he's
Okay.
7th grade.
Okay,
so-
I was thinking, okay, that's what I didn't know where that was.
Yeah,
We're gonna table that until after executive session. Thank you.
because you got a first assistant, second assistant, third
Okay,
assistant. yeah.
I was just, I read boys and I didn't know what level
Yeah.
that was.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, now before we do, nothing to talk about there. I forgot to put in here that we want them to discuss what they learned in capital. So that would be number 9.
It's nothing to get voted on.
No, there's no,
Yeah.
nothing, yeah, is tabled. This is tabled until,
I'll second that motion to table.
Right. I
Okay.
think as far as
Number
discussion,
7.
I don't know if
Right.
that would,
okay.
because my discussion
don't
is
need-
on
yeah.
either, so.
All right, now,
Here with that refrigerator.
I know, it's
I know,
loud.
it's like, what? Huh? What'd you say?
Jones, right?
Yes.
Yes. So, before we go into executive session, I understand that we had Ms. Jones and Ms. Green go to
Yep. Don't have to vote on the
vote
motion.
to table.
First.
No, you don't have to vote to table.
Oh, we don't have to vote to table?
No, because you're going to come back out and vote.
Oh,
So,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay,
just have to have a motion to table.
we're all learning.
All right.
Okay, so.
So if one of you would like to start letting us know what you got, the vast knowledge you obtained.
First of all, I'd like to thank Mrs. Viscount and the board for allowing us to go. That was just a phenomenal, nice start to everything. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about the laws and things, although I have a lot more to learn. but also attended numerous sessions. Some of the sessions I attended was student enrollment, basically who is considered in the district of residence, how that works. We went to one for new board members, which was really helpful. I went to one disciplining students with disabilities, 10 tips to survive your first year, board meetings, the good, the bad, and the ugly, promoting the positive, taking action against youth drug abuse, partnerships benefit everyone, which was a really nice one because that was actually put on by Marlington Alliance and Mount Union and how much they use Mount Union services, which we thought would be amazing to pull that in a little bit more, make that connection a little bit more. Starting a parent university, it takes a village to take back a city, which Joanne and I both went to that one also, and it was phenomenal. And we're really interested in trying to start something with that. And then also at one point, Don went with me, and he stayed with me most of them, but there was one time that we're like, oh, this one sounds good too, so he went to that one, and it was something with effective booster practices and linking, the school working with the boosters, so he went to that one. But there was some things that I really thought I'd like to look into us doing. The one was, it takes a city to takes a village to take back a city, which was on anti-drug, and it was an awesome program called Keys to Success. So that was something that Joanne was talking about. I don't know if she had planned on talking, but I don't want to override that. But something that I just think would be awesome to implement. And then Parent University, in a much smaller grade for us. This was a school district that was really big, but they did like this day where they pulled parents in and they literally taught them like how to use technology and had all these different, which we would do it in a much smaller, but I thought that was really interesting. These were just some of my highlights. I did pick up a brochure on a free elementary assembly that they do. So I've got that. I brought that back. And then Hope and Start Talking was another drug abuse one that we went to, and I got some papers on that if anybody wanted that. And that was really interesting. The curriculum for Hope, they actually have the curriculum. I didn't know what is in place here with me being newer. And then have you heard of Stop the Bleed? So that was the other papers I picked up on, because he was talking to me about that, and I guess Brian Anderson has been to that, so I didn't know if that was anything. And then during the Student Achievement Fair, I kind of was torn a little, I kind of got pulled into some of the plain local ones because I work over there, and they have one of their elementary buildings does a Guys with Ties, and I think they do it at the 3rd grade level, and of course they have a male teacher in charge, and I got a pamphlet on it, and they teach them like etiquette and how to shake hands, and they meet it like one day a week or a couple times a month or something at lunchtime, and they said those are like the future building leaders at the elementary level and stuff. So I thought that was really neat. So I just picked up some things, and I made copies if anybody wanted to see any of them, but that's but it was amazing, so.
Okay, yeah, we just had an awesome time. I mean, it was overload of information, but it was so worth it. I'll just mention a couple of the things that Debbie talked about too. The one for new board members, one of the things that they stressed was that you are one of 5, okay? And then if things do not go your way, let it go if you vote in the minority. Make sure that you communicate with the superintendent and with the other board members. On Monday, the opening session, we heard an absolutely fantastic musical group from Streetsboro. They're called Thrive. And if we could ever get them to come and perform, they were just awesome. They sang songs from different decades, and played the roles of the musicians, and they were just fantastic. And then the governor came and spoke for a little while. One of the things that I really want to go to is an alumni career speaker series. Georgetown does this, and they do it very often. They said every couple of weeks. Now, I don't know that we would want to do that, but one of the things that we talk about that they don't do is we could have it in the evening for the parents too, if we wanted to do it in the evening. Or we could have it if they started with the sophomores and have alumni come back and speak about their careers. So that was something we thought was really good. The good, bad, and the ugly board meetings, it was a simulation of what not to do. It was put on by a law firm. It was pretty interesting. And then as delegate, I went to the business meeting where they have elections and amendments and stuff. One of the ones I went to that, I mean, B.L. Miller's been there for a while, but it was called We Dreamed It, We Lived It, We Love It. It was from the West Muskingum School District. And what they did, they built a new school, but they said that you can renovate where they had elementary learning communities. And you're in that community, and there are large areas for performance, large rooms for classes of 20 or more, small rooms for individual tutoring. They are completely contained where they have their own restrooms. And it was just awesome. And the teachers had to be on board because they said, you know, there was a lot of change. It was an absolute, yeah, it was a lot of change. But they were called learning communities, and their scores have gone up, and the teachers are happier, the children are happier. It was a K for 6. And then one of the last ones I went to was called 10 Things About Living in Poverty. And it was put on by a guidance counselor from Lorraine Clearview. And he was just absolutely fantastic. And this one told about how schools can combat the negative impact of poverty. And he had a lot of great ideas. In fact, somebody invited him to come to their district. And he said, I'll talk to my superintendent and see what I can do. But yeah, it was just a lot of things. One of the things he started with was a poem about a young man who got up in the dark because the electric bill hadn't been paid. Just all sorts of things that he goes through that we don't know about. What happens to the kids in the morning before they get there? He had to get his little sister ready for school, and then he gets to school and his teacher gets on his case about not having a pencil. You know, just those things that, because we have so many, you know, that are in this category, you know, things that we tend to look at. And the Student Achievement Fair and the trade show was pretty good too. So, thank you very much, taxpayers, for sending us. Yeah. So, yeah, it was very, very beneficial.
Good. I'd be happy if you could give me copies of things so I could look at them, or things in specific that you'd like to talk about.
Okay.
Items worthy of your note. We have Olivia Woods and Stephen Ketchum were selected as Elk Teenagers of the Month for September. Lisa Cathy and Luke Clark were selected as Elk Teenagers of the Month for October. Allie Shack and Weston Latham were selected for the Elks Teenagers of the Month for November. I'd like to congratulate Debbie, Ray, Joanne, and Travis for being elected to be on the school board. It's going to be nice to have some continuity. Look forward to working with all of you and building our relationships. We spent just about $50,000 on roof repairs. We've had quite a bit of rain lately, so I've been in touch with Dave to make sure that we got our money's worth, and we have, so that's good. And that was just the first phase of the project, so no leaks, which is good. So hopefully next year when we get the rest repaired, we'll be in good shape finally at this building. Cameras, Fred and Mrs. Meeks are working on. We're waiting on one more quote. We have two, but they're so far apart. I think one was 27,000, one was 68. So we kind of need somewhere, you know, we need another one to see which is the way to go. The $27,000 quote, according to Fred, won't be much better than what we already have. So I don't see the point of spending the money if we're not going to upgrade. And then Chromebooks. I think an update I sent you guys in regards to that new grant money that we're getting. We'll be purchasing probably about 50 Chromebooks, carts, and iReady.
How do the Chromebooks work? Every student has one. Do they stay here? How does that work?
They stay here. I mean, that's how we have it handled for this year.
Okay.
If they go home, then we would really need the parents to buy insurance, which I don't know if we can enforce since you can't make students pay fees. Wouldn't really be a fee, but we'd be saying you have to buy it. It's $25. It covers theft, breakage, misuse. Well, probably not misuse, but if they break them or they're lost or stolen. So for now, they're staying here. So every student has a homeroom. They go to their homeroom. They check in. Attendance is taken. They're given their Chromebook. They keep it for the day, and at the end of the day, they go back to the homeroom.
Okay.
And then they're all plugged in and ready for the next day. So right now we need some carts just because sometimes they go to, like you might combine classes and they need them, and you know,
Okay.
the little ones in particular might drop them walking in hallways.
Yeah.
So. And then Don had something.
Yes, the January meeting scheduled for the 15th, which is Martin Luther King Day. I
We have
didn't know
to-
if you wanted to reschedule it earlier.
Well, we have to-
Make it your organizational meeting.
Yeah, we have to back it up and have it before, I think, what, the 10th?
Before the first 15 days.
Yeah. So, what are we gonna look at?
Is it a Monday? It'd be the 8th.
I don't know,
First, 8th, 15th are the Mondays.
8th,
First is
December. So would be, the 8th would be okay? Is that okay with everybody?
So I'll send out a notice to change it. That's all that I know.
Okay.
Okay, so then 8 would be, you guys need a motion to go into executive session to discuss employment.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session to discuss the employment. Is there a second?
Second.
Call the roll.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Mrs. Jones,
Yes.
Mrs. Flowers,
Yes.
Mrs. Green.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, I'm gonna call us out of the executive session at 19:30.
Right, then we'll go back to item 7, motion to grant the following, which is the 1-year limited contracts for the substitute positions and the supplemental contracts.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Oh, okay. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Mrs. Jones,
Yes.
Mrs. Green,
Yes.
Mrs. Flowers,
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes. All right.
And 9, anything else, or just,
I think that's it. Anything else? Want to discuss anything else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion. Second.
By consensus, this board meeting is adjourned.